Yes. Awesome. So, that looks good. Yes. Awesome. So, okay, so this is all... Yes. Awesome. A little bit of lag, so this is all... Yes. Awesome.
It's working. There we go.
Okay. Just a little bit slow. How do we share it? Share. There's a share button. Let's throw that bitch up on Discord, everyone. Blowing everybody up. Boom. We are experiencing some lag.
Or remember that there's a delay.
Delay.
Well, what I mean is, some delay is normal.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. They do it on Twitch so that you can't screen watch.
Okay.
They usually have like a minute or so delay at a minimum, because that, like, if you think about it,
You probably have to speak up.
Think about it. If you're a professional streamer playing a video game, right?
Right.
Anyone watching your stream knows exactly where you are, what you're doing, what you're buying in the game. So if you're about a minute behind, then it's almost not worth it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Let's get a normal link to view, and that will allow people, if, you know, we're going to have so many people watching this shit. Okay, whoops. Check out book. We proofread. Okay. So this is how we do it. I don't know.
You gonna hold it there forever?
Okay. So it looks like it's about 5 seconds behind, 10 seconds.
Oh, it's more like 11 or 12 seconds. Yeah.
Right.
Maybe 10. 10. 11 or 12 seems weird, so we'll go 10.
Here we go. Chat rate 1, playbacks 2. Concurrent viewers. Uno.
Us.
That's what I look like.
Yep.
Okay. So we'll just keep that going. Why did I do that? Pop him out to there. That way, if anyone does jump on,
We won't know.
we can know. Do that. So if you see something going on here,
Right there, on the side.
just right there.
Yeah.
How else do you do it?
Yeah.
All right. So we are here. Dice are rolled during. All right. I will read.
All right.
Okay.
I will read.
Well, actually, let's talk for the next 5 minutes about what we learned. So nobody's watching, so it really is just us.
Yeah.
So, man, I don't know. A lot of when I run shit, a lot of it is it's me in my element.
Yeah.
And I don't mean because it's DreadLore, because we're running stuff. It's just that is an element that I find difficult, but I find that I can handle, and I have a lot of fun doing it. So did I learn something? I was pleased that the issues with nerdy, Rennie, gamer people, I was able to handle.
Yeah.
I was happy that I was actually able to deal with that, because that's been such a deal. No, sorry, I didn't mean to move it. That's been such a deal between, we've talked about, like, they're not our people
Yeah.
when it comes down to it. Do my feet
I don't know if your feet smell.
Well, you would. If you don't, then it's good.
I don't smell anything.
Good. I
Yes.
was glad that happened. I was glad that we were able to, even though it was just an idea of mine, regardless, you were able to write a story that was actually well detailed.
In about 3 hours.
It took you 3 hours. I was going to ask you how long did it take. Well, I was telling Casey, I was like, I guarantee you this took him a while, because it was just there was so much detail in it. And I wouldn't have done that. Neither would Tim.
I wrote it out in about 3 hours, and I had given it some consideration. Basically, when I found out, to say I was voluntold is unfair, but it's the closest thing I can come to it. You know what I mean? Voluntold. I wasn't voluntold. I say I was voluntold because I can't think of a better word.
That's a good word.
The idea of, getting asked to run a game for some people I don't know at the fair before fair ends, and entertaining the idea, and then like 3 days before the end of the fair. By the way, oh yeah, I heard you're running. Like, oh.
Well, I pushed it big time.
Am I? And
I pushed it. Big time.
And so for me, as someone who normally tries to get as much preparation done in advance as I can, I spent that time letting ideas come to me. Like, I thought about the first game that I ever played for TTRPGs as a basis for, here's a good simple premise for people to be together and things. And then I made it DreadLore, I put it in the world, and I created a situation, essentially a module around a similar experience. And so all I did was, the first time that I played D&D, it was 3.5, it was a one-shot, we were level 1, and we were in a town, and it was a festival day. And I have a really positive experience with that. And I was like, you know what? I think that's great. I can take a band of mercenaries, because I don't know who's coming into the game. Some of them can be familiar with the town. Some of them don't have to be. I'll give them a reason to want to stay in the town, aka they lost the war and they're hiding. And there's a reason why you don't turn on each other. It's because there's a bigger element of your mercenary group back home that you can make it to. And I put the DreadLore flair, and I created a festival that was a throwback to the events of previous campaigns that we played in the system. And, spanning thousands of years later, what it would look like for a power like that to try to bring itself back into existence artificially.
Which is an amazing idea. I mean, it really is cool. That's what the game's about. And that's what the lore is about.
So that rough outline, it slowly populated into my head what I wanted to do roughly, and then when I sat down, it took me about 3 hours to flesh it out and write it down so that I could reference it during the game.
So it took a day?
No, I mean, start to finish, I sat down at like 10 and wrote until 1 a.m. and it was done. But the idea is they were like, they just sort of filtered through passively while I was working, that kind of thing. And I'd write something down like, oh yeah, festival day. I need to come up with activities and stuff.
What I mean is, if a game lasts 3 to 5 hours, and you actually prepare for it from scratch, it's pretty fast to do 3 to 5 hours of prep.
Yeah.
Right. So that's what I was telling Casey, is that there is so much that goes into it, and this is not to go pessimistic, but that's one of the plights that I have. It's something that really actually does weigh down on my brain.
Oh, absolutely.
And
I don't blame you for that, because I know.
Then you game, everyone has a good time, or most people have a good time, and then it's over with. And that's something, I mean, it's a great hobby, but you need to make it make money. I mean, that's what they do with sports. So what I learned, the main thing was that because we could connect with gamers.
Yeah.
And I think that when we were doing this before, we really got kicked in the nuts.
I definitely think we had an advantage this time that we didn't have before, because we had someone vouch for us.
Yeah.
Who brought in
we weren't
the player base.
We were not what is it called, creepy randos.
We were not creepy randos. So the reason, one of the what he's referencing is, we've run games at cons for people we don't know, and one of the things that we get is, oh, you guys aren't nerds, you guys aren't geeks, you guys are faking it. It's the sort of, and I hate to try to build an equivalency here, and I'm not, but it's gatekeeping behavior of, you don't fit the stereotype, you haven't suffered the way that I've suffered, so therefore you're invalid, and I don't trust you, or I don't care what you have to say because you don't know. You don't know what happened in every episode of season 4 of TNG.
Yeah, I do.
And,
what are you talking about?
Well, you do, but I don't. And
of course.
but
actually, I forgot.
Like at minute 5, 14 seconds. Which characters are on screen? Oh,
none of them, because it would be the fucking intro. God damn it. Go.
So, is the ship a character?
Yeah. Okay. All right.
So.
Okay.
So we ran into that kind of gatekeeping behavior, which frustrated the shit out of us because we're lifelong nerds. And I think the atmosphere has changed a little bit because over the last, well, since we last did that con.
Truthfully, it was about 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah, the Gamergate happened and everything else happened that I think have upended the expectations of the gaming community, and for the better. The idea that it doesn't matter who you are or how you celebrate, your fandom, or what it is that whatever game it is that you're playing, that's okay, and you don't have to suffer for that. That doesn't make your experience less valid because you don't have to be a hipster. You don't have to earn your right to be a geek because you get bullied about it. And I'm not saying that we're not actually describing our experiences, but that is less the case. That is less the attitude now than it was before. In short, it's cool to be a nerd now. Or at least cooler than it used to be. And the gatekeeping behavior is still very much present, but we're running into it less. But I do think it helped that we had someone set this all up for us and vouch for us this time, because the attitude was very different.
Getting vouched for is huge. I mean, that's in anything. But and I think maybe that's not something that I learned, but it's something that matters.
Yeah.
So what are my goals before I'm 40? This is something I was thinking of right before I came, like literally walking up here. I would like DreadLore to be finished, at least this version of it. I would like us to have the book on our a physical book on or in our bookshelves. I'd like us to have T-shirts that say it. This is not difficult. I mean, it is for us apparently, but it's not difficult.
Yeah.
And I would like it to be something to where it's like, hey, so this year, do you want to do these couple of festivals or these couple of cons? And we'll just have like a little booth, throw it on and do it. Like, that's something that I would like by the time I'm 40, so it's 2 years, year and a half. I've allotted.
Year and a month.
Huh?
A little more than a year and a half.
A little more than a year. Yeah. Right. Maybe it's $1,500 or $2,000 or something like that. But that idea of like, I'm willing to throw down $1,500 to do 2 cons, a couple days, go, you have a table, run the game a few times, like we did. Maybe there's just, whatever the idea is that we have a few of the books there. It's fun. Maybe each day we have a game, like we did at the Ren Fair. That is possible. And then what's the goal of that? Well, one, it's fun to go to a con and actually do it. 2, you dress up, you get your buddies. Hello.
You guys can come out now. Casey's gonna go on.
It's cool. We're live streaming and everything. You come in this back?
What?
Come in here.
Oh,
Come on here.
in the middle of a live stream.
So?
Right. Okay. I'm gonna go
No
in
one's
the
watching.
office.
We're over here, but
I
no one's
hearted
watching.
it. I did.
Did you?
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah, on server.
You
Daddy's
saw
thing.
it?
Yeah.
And you didn't watch it?
No, we were talking shit about Costco.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. And I stepped on the fish and it scared me.
So what we want to do
Okay.
is within the year,
Oh, it was bad.
within a year, we want to have this book finished.
Okay.
We want to be able to. These are the things I want. Actually, you haven't actually agreed, but I'm assuming you do.
I agree.
We want to be able to say, okay, so this year we're going to hit these 2 cons. At the con,
Good luck.
we go.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it would be
Anyway.
within 2 years. We would
After the Rona.
right after
After
Rona.
Rona.
We have like a booth. Our people come. They all dress up like characters in DreadLore. We have maybe a book or 2 to show. The artwork, of course. You can download the book. You can get the T-shirt. You can get the fucking dice. You can get if you pay for the book, you can print it. Right? You know what I'm talking about? The print to pay things. Pay to print.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever it's called. You know what I'm talking about? Where instead of having a big like warehouse full of books that you sell,
You just pay for the ones that they want.
or technically like if I want this book, they print it and then they send it to me.
It's like Lulu Press and several others. You go online, you pay for a copy of the book, and they print it on demand.
Right, and then after
Print on
200
demand.
books, we start making money. That's the idea, or whatever it is. The point is, the goal of these is one, to have fun, to come, dress up, be silly, and then maybe we're there 2 nights or something. Each night we run a game just like we did at the fair. Like an actual game, where one of the creators actually runs the game. And then during the day, we're talking about the game, maybe we run like little tiny like 20-minute shots.
Yeah.
pre-gens, whatever it is. And the rest of the time, we're fucking dicking off hanging. The goal is to make a little bit of cash, have a lot of fun, and then the third tier goal is to get on the panel, where we're eventually invited. It's like, oh, we want the guys from DreadLore, guys and girls from DreadLore, to come to this con.
Come in and talk about game development.
And
game
talk about
theory,
game development.
Running a game.
For instance, if JD does a thing,
Mm-hmm.
and he's apparently into gaming,
Yeah.
then like hitting that's my goal for
Okay.
this. I mean, that's been the goal from the get-go. From the parking lot in Southard's old apartment. Like day one or day zero, I think it was day one really. The idea being like, hey, let's make this more. Our goal for DreadLore is that.
We're going to make a G10 system, and it's cracking good.
It's cracking good. The
Cracking
crack
good.
It was called the crack
It was called the crack system.
because it was like crack.
It's double entendre.
It's also
Yeah.
crack system.
Crack.
I thought you meant like cracking like the rum, and I was like, oh.
Go.
Yeah.
That was a part of this. It should be. We should make a reference.
Yeah.
Some of the book.
Hmm.
Anyway, yeah.
Oh.
Would you
Well-
guys be down to dress up
Always.
and be
She likes my
booth
dress
ladies?
up.
Yeah.
Sweet.
It's such an outmoded term.
Booth ladies.
Booth babes.
Booth babes.
They
Yeah.
don't do those.
We
I
don't do
I
this.
don't know if they.
We don't
I don't know if
do
it's
those.
still a thing.
We don't do this anymore.
It is. Even after all the recent developments in the community.
Would you guys
booth babes are still a
Instagram that
thing.
we're doing this live stream?
I don't. What?
Would you guys Instagram that we're doing this live stream? We're gonna do it for another 35 minutes.
Okay.
Would you Instagram it really quick?
Yes.
Instagram it. I'll get
Okay.
more bourbon. Do you want anything?
Ugh.
No, I'm good.
We'll Instagram it. We'll continue this. We'll actually do the book. And I have it battery cool. Or you have to stay, or someone has to stay.
Yep.
One of you has to stay.
Yep. Mhm.
Oh. What have you guys worked on so far?
We're talking about stuff. Yeah. Talking about the game, what we learned from running that session.
Okay. You want me to get you anything?
No, I'm okay. Aha. It is me. It is me and my cat, who is still somewhat feral. We just adopted him recently. And he's an odd one. Go ahead.
Yep. Just send it into that.
No, don't walk on that. I don't think he messed anything up. He did walk on the keyboard. Okay, so we had wrapped up chapter 1 of the book. We're going over chapter 2, the dice.
Hey, cat. Get the fuck
Okay. Which Will is going to read?
For now, you, because I'm going to insta hell real quick.
Which Will is not going to read.
Hmm?
I said which Will is not going to read.
Which was okay. Give me Give me 1 minute.
That's okay. Dice are rolled during the throwing down. During the throwing down.
During.
Whilst. Dice are rolled whilst throwing down?
You might probably want it, yeah. I like whilst.
No one uses it.
Why not? My mom used it earlier today.
Your mom taught English.
That she did.
So that doesn't surprise me. She did teach English, right?
She taught English and she taught reading. And actually, she's a PE teacher, but she taught PE for like 2 years.
Oh.
Yeah, she would call herself a PE teacher, actually.
Well,
but she did teach English.
It doesn't surprise me that she would say whilst.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Dice are rolled whilst throwing down or when making a reaction roll. Players have 2 main dice called the action die and the aspect die. The results of these dice are never added. In addition to one's action and aspect dice, players may also roll various other dice as described below. Starting with the action die, it's a D10 that players roll for taking major actions, which we've talked about before. Certain powers and situations can reduce the die type of the action die, but for the most part, characters always have access to it as a D10. The action die represents a player's agency to act or to play the game, and it can never be reduced down to a weak die, which is nothing. So you'll always have something to roll, even if it's shit.
Does that actually... Oh, that was a description, not actually in the book.
That was not in the book.
That's beautiful.
I'm trying again.
Ah! Are you out?
The war's over.
Are you up?
Yes.
Ready?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to go let the dog out.
Come here.
Oh.
Here.
Fine.
Bartender, come down here. I said, what you need?
You're walking around like me.
Shma?
Yeah, you're walking around like me.
Am I?
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know if that's a compliment or an insult.
It's an insult.
Okay.
It's not an insult, it's an observation.
My throat hurts.
Drink that shit.
Okay, I posted on my Instagram. I sent it. Why is it not on DreadLore's Instagram?
Well, because I just put it on 12 replay.
Go let the dog out.
Put it on right now.
We'll go let the... Ah, whoa. I want Floki to be dressed like that for Halloween.
Oh, God, no, you don't. This is an evil doggo.
Okay, well, maybe not then.
All right, lady.
All right.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, bye.
Well, bye.
Have fun, boys.
I mean, we can add that to the book, Will.
I do like it. I'm gonna turn on the light real quick. We should just fucking turn on the light. That light's not on. There's no light in here.
There is no ceiling light.
Ben, editing the book. Like a boss. Can't see you because there's no light. Just the light of your face. Yeah. That's right. This is editing the book. Live stream.
Aspect die. The aspect die represents how powerful a character is with regard to 4 specific character aspects. Those are brawn, grace, wits, and mind. They're more or less what they say on the 10, right? But the die type is based on which aspect is being used for the task at hand. So it can range from weak, which is nothing, to a D12, which is as high as it gets. Because this system is about it involves escalating die types. So the better you're supposed to be at something, then the higher the die type you get. And so you're typically always rolling a D10 unless that's modified, plus whatever aspect die is involved for the action. So if it's physical strength, then it's brawn. If it's intuition or attention to perception to a situation, then it's wits. If it's solving a puzzle, that kind of thing, mind. There are extra dice that can be involved in rolls. For some reason, I thought you were still filming on your phone.
Oh.
These extra dice are any dice which are gained from bidding either a trait from expertise or from equipment. They're rolled in the same way as the action and aspect dice, looking for successes based off of thresholds. Some powers and gifts allow for direct results to successes, which would be the number rolled on the die. So if you roll a 4 on a d8, then you get 4 successes, which is not standard for this system. But some very powerful forms of expertise or extra dice will work that way, but they're rare. There are also chaos dice, and these are special nefarious sorts of extra dice. They can give you successes, and so in that way they do operate just like extra dice, but they cause a critical failure on the result of 1. They're granted under specific circumstances, usually involving Theurgy or when casting Magicka. And so those are the dice you don't want to roll 1s on, because then whatever you're doing, it's probably going to backfire or break or fail in some way. The benefit to getting them is it's another chance for additional successes.
Question, do you think that we should have the explanation in here, or is that enough? The explanation being some things shouldn't work, but they do, and there's a chaos in everything. Because that was in 1.7 a lot, that very narrative style, look, this is why there's such a thing called an extra die. Or is this just a point where it's like, hey, by the way, here's an extra die, this is what it does?
I think that this is a point in the book, or in the Word document at least, where there's no real need for lore.
I will say the chaos die, I agree with you. The chaos die should say that it is almost always a d6.
Sure.
Although with Sprock, it's not. Maybe we should just keep it that way.
The default is a d6.
Yeah.
Being a d6. Boom. Done.
Bam. Awesome. Handled. All right, I shall take over.
Indeed.
Do we have any issues yet?
No. Although I am reading it conversationally, so I'm not reading it verbatim, but I don't see any issues with the flow or prose.
Did
so
OBS stop? No, it didn't. Okay. Over here. Okay. It just didn't have us on there. I want to make sure that we're actually still streaming on here. That would be warning,
We are.
which is not optimal. Resolution, we don't give a shit about your optimate. Whatever, girl. We don't care. We do care.
We do care, but not enough.
Okay. All right. And no one's watching. Whatever. It's 11 p.m.
That's right.
All right, so rolling successes. A result of 4+ is considered 1 success. A result of 8+ is considered 2 successes. Anything about other numbers? Or is that enough? Those are successes.
I would maybe put in a bit about how you would read
4 up.
4 up, 8 up, 10 up.
Okay.
And I may.
Okay.
So just there at the end, these would be spoken as or read aloud as 4 up or 8 up. Do.
I'm not typing well.
thrown in respectively.
Right.
I would put quotes around them.
Oh, quotes. Bam.
How did you get to skip the end
Oh,
of the
how
word?
did I do that, you might ask? Ha, 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 ha. This is a coding thing. Use option.
Really?
Yep. If you option instead of shift or command, command will take you to the end of the line.
Okay.
Option will take you to the end of, it's not the end of the word, it's the way things are formatted. It's like the end of the block. There's
Okay.
probably a better way of saying that.
I wonder how I convert that knowledge to PC because this is a Mac thing.
Check this out. You can do the same thing going up and down. If you're holding option, this is going where the returns are.
Yeah. See, I can do that with home and end on a full-size keyboard.
Yes.
Um,
Use control. Control is usually equivalent to command.
yeah, it's the option key. Which
The
I guess maybe
option key-
function or alt.
I would say it's alt because alt is the same thing on option. You have function alt or function. Option is alt on a Mac.
Right.
So try alt. And in fact, it might be, because I know you can do it.
Yeah.
Because I did it in
I
Linux
just
all
haven't
day.
done any coding in a long time.
Well, I do it like once a week.
Yeah.
Flare.
A long, long time.
Yeah. All right. We have this as commented.
Which I'm still paying for the JetBrains C Sharper if you want access to it.
That's a good idea.
If you
All
have
right.
any interest in C Sharp.
I need you to send me a
yes.
text message telling me that.
Okay.
Do extra dice not generate flare or pocket full of change? So I had responded to this. I'll let you read.
Yeah. So Will had said, originally no, only action and aspect dice, A and A, generate flare or pocket full of change. And the idea was to distinguish those two dice from the rest. But in play, that's been relaxed. Basically, any dice that can roll a 10 or more can generate flare and pocket full of change. The reason why that's been going, the reason why that's been the case in the play experience thus far, is because these things they come up enough that players have a reasonable hope to get flare and pocket full of change, which we will explain what that is in a minute. A couple times a session, if there's a lot of rolling, specifically if there's a lot of rolling, you may get one or two of these in a session if you're high level characters. But if it's just limited to the main two dice, they are much rarer. Especially in early levels when you are really only going to have the 1d10 and none of your other dice are high enough to get flare, which means pocket full of change is just impossible. And that is probably going to be the case regardless of how many dice can generate it at early levels. But the play experience has shown that, at least in my opinion, that I think it's fine to broaden that to all dice.
The whole idea is that A&A aspect and action dice were special, but that was also in the days when like traits were super contained.
Yeah.
And
damage reduction was sacrosanct.
Right. The thing is, though, I think, and correct if I'm wrong, this is a little bit different of a subject, but the idea, actually, it's a different subject. We won't deal with it.
Okay.
Yeah. So we'll just resolve this and say that they do, in fact. I tagged examples and notes just so that we could watch them.
Yeah. So if we're resolving that, we're doing all dice. Yeah?
Yes.
Okay. So on any die.
Okay.
Grants the player flair. When this happens, the player may recover any one trait that has been exhausted. Any single die. Because if you do it more than once.
Well, that's on flair.
Yeah.
Oh, see, I hadn't thought about that.
What?
The way that I was thinking of it is, you make your roll, and you can get it once per action. That way, because there's a little mechanical breakdown here, a little mechanical of the OP, which is, it's obviously beneficial to roll more dice.
Yeah.
The downside is, because you have more chance of success. The downside is you spend traits. The upside is you could potentially get flair. The thing is, if you, and it's okay to like strategize mechanically, but I don't want the system. I want the system to reward playing the character, not, okay, well, I need you to aid me so that I get to the D10, and then I'm going to spend this because later I'll get this, and then if we do this, technically, if statistically I can get those 3 flares on this one roll, of course I'll spend this because I'll probably get this. I'll spend these proficiencies so that I can get the flare back. No. That is wrong. That rewards bullshit. It rewards that kind of play, and it means that the savvy player will always do it.
So the most I've ever seen happen in...
Like, I don't mean it as OP.
Yeah.
I mean that it rewards, that specifically rewards players like Ryan. I always want to roll. Well, can I throw down on this? Well, no, you don't need to. Well, I want to, so I have more traits. You see?
That's a dangerous gambit, though. Even allowing all those dice, like the moment you start spending proficiencies for rerolls, you're in too deep.
Mm.
You know, like
it is gamble.
It is a realistically, it's a 1 in 10 chance per die to get something back, and so what, you're going to be throwing down how many traits for rerolls to get one of those traits back? It's not worth it. And I think the people that think that way know that it's not worth it.
Mm.
Because they're the ones that are going to be doing the averages and the stats on that. I think if I was trying to break a character or try to get infinite traits or something, that's not the route I would go. And moreover, we've got that really high-powered campaign we're playing right now, Deus Mortus Est. And the most I've ever seen any one of us generate, even the time that I got like 19 successes in one action, which was just Jesus.
That's a lot.
The most that I've seen anyone generate in any one single major action was pocket full of change and flare. I've never seen 2 pockets full of change.
So here's the thing with pocket full of change, and the whole idea of pocket full of change, like, and this is something that it's good to talk about, because when we move right down here, the point is you're getting 2 10s or 2 10-ups on your aspect and action die. If we change it to where flare is any die, and pocket full of changes, you get it on, so long as you get it twice, that's fine, but it drastically changes the idea of what it was intended to be, at least. Now, the intention, honestly, was A&A to be the dice.
Yeah.
When Jeff, because it's Jeff's idea to have flare and pocket full of change. That is his name. I did not make that up. He was like, you should call it pocket full of change. And I was like, that's a great fucking idea.
That was Jeff's idea?
Yeah, Jeff's idea was pocket full of change. The whole 2 dice and 4 up, 8 up, like, we talked about it, but the idea of successes on dice, that was his idea.
That was Jeff's idea. I know that. I thought someone else came up with Pocketful of Change because I remember you and I talked about it, and what I had said was Pocketful of Change the scene.
Okay, I'll digress.
Yeah.
You may be right.
I'm not
sure.
saying it was me, but I'm pretty sure it happened here.
I have tons of. I've had too many conversations.
Or maybe it was me defending Jeff's name. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter who came up with it right now. It's something off stream. The point is this: I don't think the idea of aspect and action dice being some sort of special dice really matters in terms of the play experience. That's something that like you and I would geek out on as developers, but it doesn't translate to the experience the players are going to have. What the players care about is what dice do I need to roll? Where do I get that? Am I going to be good at this, or am I rolling something subpar because it would be what the character would do? You get into those kinds of questions. They don't care about why these dice are more important than the others, because in reality, in terms of how it translates to what they're doing, they're not more important. Right. They're just the ones they get for free.
Right.
So I don't think that, like, I think breaking it down in that way isn't beneficial. If you're worried about people getting too much of this stuff.
No. I'm worried about it breaking something.
Yeah. The way that it would break it is if they get too much. Like, I've never seen 2 pockets full of change. Like, someone getting 4 10s. You're not rolling enough dice for that to be a realistic possibility. It can happen.
This is what I'm actually talking about. Right now, the rule is if you get on both your aspect and action dice, then you get pocketful of change.
Yeah.
If we just say, well, you get on 2, that is a much lower probability. I'm sorry, much higher probability than this. Right?
Oh, yes. But we've been playing the alternate way, and it's...
See, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
It just hasn't happened. I would say that you can't get more than 1 on any one roll.
So this would be a result of 10 up on...
I would just say...
2 or more die.
2 flair on 1 major action.
Okay.
Because you don't have to describe what flair is again. They know it's right there.
Okay. So...
That's some sort of cable tie.
How would you say this?
2 flair on any one major action.
Gaining 2 flair or just 2 flair?
Yeah, gaining 2 flair. I like that.
Gaining 2 flair on any
one
single major action. Grants pocketful of change.
Players cannot earn more than 1 of these. You can get more flair, but you can't get, like, you can't stockpile a bunch of opportunities to alter the scene, alter the situation on 1 action, right? If you think about, there's a limit to what 1 action can do in that immediate time.
It's interesting too, because technically, if we say major action, that does not apply to reactions. Because reactions are not major actions. They're reactions.
Oh, shit.
So maybe we just say a single action. In that way, it's a minor action. If you have to roll on it, anything you have to roll on.
Yeah.
So if you have to roll on it, you get it.
Yeah, although you can't generate pocketful of change on minor actions.
Why not?
Because it's 4 up only.
Truth.
Well, I guess you could.
Well, yeah, you can.
You can, because you can still get the get the 10 up. It just only counts as 1 success.
Yeah.
It doesn't count as flair.
Yeah.
It's never happened.
Yeah.
It's never come up. Should it? Should you be barred from it?
Here's the thing about minor actions. That is a legalese style. What's the word? Understanding. That's a terrible sentence, but I don't think players understand that, and I say that arrogantly because until you have pointed it out, it hadn't dawned on me.
It dawned on me either.
Like the
and I'm
idea,
a player, so yes, you're right.
like the idea that the implication that on a minor action you are impaired and therefore can only gain one success on a die.
It actually, it does not preclude you from still getting flair or pocket full of change, and just to cut to the meat of this,
Right?
I
That's
don't
wild.
care.
Okay, fuck it.
Yeah, I'd say if you're impaired and you run out of stuff, you should still be able to affect the scene.
That is actually pretty cool. Okay.
Yeah, like
We'll just say action.
yeah. I don't see the harm in that. I think it's kind of cool that there's a chance you could still get flair or pocket full of change on an impaired roll.
Okay. PFC. We probably don't need this line.
We do.
We do. Okay.
Yeah,
In addition, PFC also grants the benefits of flair.
because it originally didn't. And you can, right now as written and as we are currently playing it, you can get like 3 flair on one action. So that would give you pocket full of change and flair. So you'd have 2 flair and you get to change the narrative some way. And when we talk about changing the narrative for pocket full of change, we're talking about something like the couch in the room being in the right place for you to hide behind it,
Right.
or
It turns out there is a light in here.
the roommate was stood in front of a stool, so when you push him, he's gonna fall over it. fall
Yeah.
backward.
Or I know the roommate.
Yeah, or
And
I know the
he's
roommate.
one of my allies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So these are relatively minor alterations to the narrative or to the scene that are a boon to you, or a bane to your adversary, your antagonist, the NPC that you are gunning against.
Or PC.
Or PC, yeah. But they are not, in and of themselves, equivalent to a major action.
So, question. Let's say I roll 3 dice. I get all 10s. I'm like, bam! 10s. I have 3 flair, which means I have 3 flair and 1 pocket full of change.
No. You have pocket full of change. You cash 2 of those in for PFOC.
That is not how this reads.
Yeah.
This says gaining 2 flair grants pocket full of change. That is not the same. And this says, in addition, it also grants flair. So that means you get 3 flair and pocket full of change.
It's a 3 for 2.
Yeah.
Plus.
So we need a caveat.
So
It's a choice.
How do we write that?
So how have you guys been playing it? You're doing pocket full of change or flair.
So originally, you trade in 2 flair for pocket full of change.
Mm-hmm.
You did not get flair.
Right.
For
But how
PFOC.
have you been playing?
But then you, in some weird fit of generosity,
Mm-hmm.
were like, oh, no, you get flair too. And the way that was interpreted and the way we've been playing it is you cash in 2 flair for pocket full of change, and you get the benefit of 1 of those, and you can change the scene. Any flair beyond the 2 is just more flair.
That's what we should write if that's how we're going to play.
Yeah, so, and that way is working. So if you get 3 flair,
Okay.
you can get 3 traits back, or you can get 2 back and change the scene.
So
And that's the most I've seen in any one roll.
this is what I'm
Which
thinking.
is why I keep going back to that number.
If a player gains more than 1 flair on any single action,
They can trade in 2.
she may trade in 2 to gain pocket full of change. Actually, they can trade in 1 because they still get flair.
Well, they specifically would have to trade in.
See what I'm
Should
saying?
trade in 2. Trust me.
I see what you're saying.
Trust me.
Trade in 2. Gain pocket level change. All right, I'm going to read it. If a player gains more than one flare on any single action roll. Actually,
No,
action's fine.
just action.
She may trade in 2 to gain pocket full of change, or PFOC. When this happens, the player gains some control of the narrative of their action, whether the action was successful or not. The player may suggest to the arbiter how the action plays out. Players cannot earn more than 1 PFOC on a single action. In addition, PFOC also grants the player the benefits of 1 flare.
Yeah.
Any other flare gained on that action, aside from the ones traded in for PFOC, are normal. I don't like that end, but how to say that?
Used as normal?
Used as normal. Bam. Example. This example is going to suck.
Yeah, I had to change my character's name too, by the way.
Why?
Because it was all wrong.
Really?
I fixed it. Yeah, I fixed it.
What did I call you? Was it not
It
Alvatus?
was like Althadius.
Oh, come on.
It was Althadius.
The player, Bad, has his character, Althadius. The Great Swordsman. Attempts.
Has his character attempt?
Oh, okay. Has his character. I know, I wrote it. Has his character attempt to dodge Maryband's crossbow bolt.
Huh.
He rolls his action die, D10, and aspect die, D12, resulting in a 10 and 11 respectively, and gaining 4 successes in total. The threshold difficulty to avoid the threshold. Is that what we're calling it?
You called it difficulty threshold because you didn't want to use DC.
Yeah. What are we calling it now?
Just put threshold.
The threshold to avoid the bolt, however, is 5. The arbiter identifies Bad that his character takes the bolt in his arm and yelps like a llama.
Oh! How do you without llamas yelp?
Regardless, as both dice rolled 10 up, Althadus has pocket full of change and flare.
Yeah, so I'd say he could spend 1. Yeah, may spend 1 PFOC and 1 flare. Or 2 flare.
Bad. Okay, do we need the rest of this?
No. Oh, I don't know.
Bad may
the
therefore
example
recover one of
PFOC.
his exhausted traits. He uses Pilfosa to say that Miriam. What?
Yeah, I don't know Maryband.
Maryband finds Althadius' impersonation of the animal hilarious and drops her crossbow while laughing. Or perhaps.
You were messing up all the names.
Shut up.
You're still messing up mine.
Whatever.
Althadius instead of Althadius. Oh, Althadius.
Miriam finds Althadius' impersonation of the animal hilarious and drops her crossbow while laughing. Or perhaps Miriam finds the sound endearing and rethinks her next attack. Or perhaps Althadius turns the llama yelp into a furious battle cry, allowing for a reaction roll to intimidate Miriam. Bad and the arbiter discuss the outcome together. We probably don't need any of that.
I think that you need some sort of example about what PFOC allows you to change.
Okay, so there it is.
Because just saying that you can change the scene.
So this gives that example.
Yeah. This sets an expectation. It sets a precedent.
All right. Give me 1 second.
I would also say that Limbo is listed under degrees of failure.
What?
The next example is degrees of failure, and limbo is right there. It was previously.
Oh. Yeah.
Oops.
So do you think it should be? I mean, it is success.
It's also failure.
It's just not a clean success.
It's dirty.
It's a dirty success.
It's a
We
dirty
should call it a
success.
dirty success.
I like limbo.
No, we should, but it should be, instead of degrees of failure, it should be dirty success.
How it feels
It feels dirty.
to get the dirt on you.
All right, I'm gonna get some water. We'll finish this up and I'll leave.
Seeing how much is left of this module. There is no way we're going to make it through the rest of this module tonight.
Oh no, it's already 11:30.
Yeah.
That's why I moved the "we are" here.
Yeah.
But I wanted to close up, the silly live stream that no one didn't. Probably because it's so late.
Didn't they watch?
Also, we should, do these live streams. We should probably telegraph them.
Yeah. Actually put it on the schedule or something.
Okay.
We put it in our schedule.
We need a light. So what I want to actually do, the
Man, we are dark.
the something
Silhouetted is the word.
the something Bunkum, the new episode that I'm gonna do, or that I have yet to do, but I plan on doing it probably tomorrow. I'm gonna be doing it at the house, Jeff's house, and it's gonna be standing. So we'll see if it works. It might be shit. I don't know, but we should be able to live stream, and my internet should be 20 up right now. And we might go to MetroNet, in which case it'll be 1,000 up.
Oh fuck.
Supposedly. But at any rate, if that happens, whether it happens or not,
Yeah.
you come over, we do a live stream. And it doesn't have to be something Bunkum. It could be DreadLore System. Or actually, fuck it. It'll be something Bunkum because that's the one that I actually have followers on.
Right.
So the idea is that we do, I call it GameTalk. You do the $1 Patreon thing, don't you? Have you looked at it at all in a while?
I'm still catching up on your videos.
Okay. I was going to say, because I actually posted a few things. Specifically, one was with Daniel Hufker.
Mm-hmm.
The whole Discord thing, chat about gaming, I finally edited it down. So that's up. But you will eventually get to it. And I can show it to you, whatever. My point is, though, it would be something like this. It'd be us in front of a mic instead. We'd have like a fucking map in the background, and we'd be live streaming.
Yeah.
But we could actually do it. You get off of work one day, we throw down, and we could do it every fucking Thursday or something.
Yeah.
And that would be, we would live stream us doing this.
So just make up for never doing an Arbiter's Blathering.
Right. we would do an Arbiter's Blathering. We need to fucking do that, because that's a whole different thing. My point is that we can schedule a live stream and edit the fucking book. Because, if nobody's on here, who gives a shit? Who cares?
No.
And if someone is on here, then you bring your computer and you're answering fucking chats or whatever.
Yeah.
You get fucking famous.
I dig it. Almost.
It was a terrible movie. I didn't like the movie.
I didn't see it.
It wasn't good. I don't think.
I saw Almost Heroes, and that was good.
Was it?
It was the Chris Farley Matthew Perry, like parody of Lewis and Clark.
Oh, I never saw
They
it.
were explorers going to the west to find the Pacific, and they were racing Lewis and Clark, and it's ridiculous.
So,
I really don't know if it's aged well because I haven't seen it in about a decade.
Yeah.
But it was. I mean, it's classic Chris Farley.
Well, Chris Farley, sure. I think he died before 2010.
Yeah,
He died a while ago.
he did.
You know, he
Um,
was not very old. I was gonna say he was 27, but he may have been older than that.
No, he I think he OD'd.
Oh yeah, definitely.
He was struggling a lot with depression.
Yeah.
He's one of those really funny people. Turns out they're really concerned about making people laugh because they're not happy.
Yeah.
Sort of like Robin Williams and all that.
Yeah.
But yeah, he and Matthew Perry starred in a movie called Almost Heroes, and it was essentially the untold story of Lewis and Clark's immediate competitors. And
It's hilarious. I want to see it.
It's ridiculous.
We should fucking download that shit.
It was one of my favorite movies. I really was into Chris Farley, so like
Chris Farley was awesome.
Black Sheep and
Dude, Tommy Boy. Oh my god.
Tommy Boy, Matt Foley, motivational speaker. Yeah.
I never saw that.
It was a SNL skit that he got really famous for, living in a van down by the river.
Oh yeah. Is that the one where he has the belt?
And he's pulling up.
Yeah.
And he's doing the.
All right, so we're gonna be done.
We're done now.
We're done now. Let me
I'm done now.
kill that. Oh, did I already kill it?
I don't know. Did you kill it?
I mean, it's still streaming. Oh well. Let me see if I just want to see if anybody's on. It would be kind of funny if someone's. Oh, we are here. Maybe I should reopen this shit. Hold on. Give me a second. Google Drive. Drive your Google. How do we pop up on live stream?
So it's a. It looks like a Tomoe. I can't remember what it's called.
A what?
A little shuriken.
Oh, Shuriken.
Tomoe, I think is
The Tomoe.
I don't know. I need to
Okay,
find
well,
out.
looks like nobody watched it. Playbacks 2. Why does it say playback? Alright. Editing rate. End stream.